Hello everyone, and welcome to probably a rare late night edition of the Charles A. Gorman Show. I know it is right now 13 minutes past midnight, i.e. 12:13 a.m. here in Eastern Standard Time, but I've decided to give you guys, for this particular video / episode, my personal ranking of all 8 live-action Superman movies. I've actually been thinking about doing this for quite some time, so here we go, starting at last place at number 8, and that's probably the worst Superman, probably if not arguably the worst Superman movie, not that I've ever seen, but of all time, and Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. The direction, the execution, the writing, the script, and of course, the editing and the character Nuclear Man, straight up abysmal, straight up god awful. This movie is just an absolute abomination. And then right there in 7th place is Superman 3. This really felt and looked like more of a Richard Pryor movie instead of being a Superman movie. Superman's in it for like 10 minutes. And Richard Pryor, even though he was a legendary comedian, especially back in the day, he was not, from what I've seen, he was not very good in this movie. Hell, this movie in general is not very good in my opinion. Number 6 is the highly controversial and divisive Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. All I need to say about that movie, I do plan on talking about this movie in particular in full detail for another time on a different video. But for this, I'll just say, did not have to be a first movie, should not have been a versus movie, could have been written better, could have had a better script, and it could have been executed way better. That's all I'm going to say about that. In 5th place is Superman Returns, starring Brandon Routh. While I don't hate this movie like a lot of people do, it could have been better. There were some moments that felt good, but some moments that felt a bit off to me. I did not like Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. I thought she did the character poorly. Frank Langella, I hope I said his name correctly, was an awesome Perry White. And while I do respect Kevin Spacey as an actor despite his legal issues, I don't really like him for his legal issues, tell you that much. I thought his version of Lex Luthor was a bit too cartoonish for my liking. But all in all, I think this is a decent Superman movie at best. And number 4, this has arguably become a guilty pleasure of mine recently, in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel from 2013. While the writing is not that great, while the script and the execution are not that great, this definitely does have a lot of things that I've always wanted to see in a live-action Superman movie. I also liked Michael Shannon as General Zod, but with all due respect, I think this movie at best is a decently entertaining film at best, in my opinion. But that's all. I'm actually going to talk about more. I want you to talk about that movie in more detail for a later video. So stay tuned for that as well. Number 3 on my list is the most recent Superman movie, Superman 2025, written and directed by James Gunn. I think this is the best one since Superman 1 and 2 from 1970 to 1980. I thought David Corenswet did Superman very well. I thought Nicholas Hoult was an excellent interpretation of the character. Rachel Brosnahan was an excellent Lois Lane. I could go on how much I like this movie. If you haven't seen my most recent review of the Superman movie, of James Gunn's first Superman movie from last year, please check that video out as well. But as for the criticism of Superman being the quote-unquote nerfed in this movie, I didn't mind it all too much. I understand the complaints that people had in regards to that. Honestly, I think James Gunn was trying to focus more on his character than his powers and abilities. Besides, I think he didn't, similar to how Superman was introduced in Superman the Animated Series back in 1996, the writers and developers did not want him to go through every situation easily because they didn't want to make every situation he came across a bit too easy for him. They wanted him to struggle a bit even though he's a very powerful character. They didn't want to make every situation a bit too easy for him. Besides, the one character he struggled a lot in terms of fighting the most was his clone Ultraman, who, according to Lex Luthor, is either just as strong, if not stronger, than him. So we shall see. We shall see. Could David Corenswet Superman receive a quote-unquote increase of power in Superman Brainiac? Who knows? He could. He could not. We shall see. Now for 1B, I would say you could argue very much as the best Superman movie of all time, and that's Richard Donner's Superman the movie from 1978. This movie really did an outstanding job in capturing the core essence of Superman's character. You can really and honestly tell that this movie did Superman well. Not only did it make fans fall in love with the character, it really made fans respect the character, and most of all, understand the character, especially at that particular time. Christopher Reeve, may God rest his soul, did an amazing job as Superman in this movie. Margot Kidder was an excellent Lois Lane, and rest in peace to Gene Hackman. He was an excellent Lex Luthor. This movie is a brilliant movie. You could argue it is a masterpiece still to this day. Despite the CGI visual special effects being a bit dated, I still think it's a great movie. And then 1A as my personal favorites, and 1A is Superman 2 from 1980. Now, even though I watched both the Richard Lester and the Richard Donner versions of the film, I will give a slight edge to the Richard Lester films because there were certain things in that movie that I felt that did better than a Richard Donner version. But nonetheless, Superman 2, in my opinion, is still an excellent movie. Love Terrence Stamp as General Zod, may his soul rest in peace. Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder once again do an excellent job as Superman Lois Lane. And Gene Hackman is an excellent Lex Luthor. I can go on and on with this movie too, in terms of its characterization, its character development, its writing, its storytelling, the whole 9 yards. It is, in my opinion, still to this day, an excellent movie and one of the top best, not only one of the best live-action Superman films, but one of the best Superman films of all time, in my opinion. That is it for my ranking of my personal ranking of all 8 of the live-action Superman movies. I hope you all had a great time watching with this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.